This episode is proudly brought to you by the Afrocentric Group, Southern Africa's most diversified healthcare group, building a winning health offering. Hello and welcome to another edition of AI Impact Talk with myself, Tim Bekile Mkhototo. And today we're tackling a fascinating conversation looking at the real-life implementation of AI, real-world implementation of AI, especially in terms of what businesses are able to do. We're joined by someone who is an expert on the topic. I'm talking about Kutlwano Ngwarati, who is the founder and CEO at HighRisers. Kutlwano, welcome to AI Impact.
Thank you for having me.
I was saying to you just before we started rolling that this is quite the topic. I think a good place to begin is with where you are,
Yes.
the work that you do, and then how it feeds into our discussion today.
Yeah, so yes, I am the founder and CEO of HighRisers, but I go formally by the title of AI automation strategist. So what that means is I guide businesses through the full and phased implementation of AI from strategy to execution. And really, there's this myth that AI is a plug-and-play solution. And so what organizations have found is that they'll implement this solution and not be able to get measurable impact around that. And that's where I bridge the gap to say that AI success really needs to align to your strategy, needs to align to what your ROI is, what are your business outcomes, and where it is that you want to embed it. So yeah, that's us leading into the interesting conversation about to have.
And when you, just in terms of automation, you said, for example, that it's not plug and play.
Yes.
How difficult then is it to tailor make an AI solution, let's say, for each enterprise?
Yes. So our rule of thumb really is you buy off the shelf if it's going to solve a common problem or the technology has been proven. So when you're looking at CRM automation, when you're looking at invoicing processing or document extraction, definitely buy off the shelf because it's a common problem that your organization is facing. And then you build when it's really addresses three key things in my mind, which is competitive advantage. It's either unique or it serves a strategic objective. And what that means is you're then looking at proprietary information. So really looking to build a custom AI tools because you're looking to build a model that does customer segmentation, a model that's looking at your pricing. So you really want to be in charge and in control of that specific model. But there's also the opportunity to do hybrid, right?
Right.
So you can buy an off-the-shelf tool and then you just add customization over that. But more importantly, what we're seeing is that organizations also look at data and security. So with off-the-shelf tools, some of the internal governance might not meet your organization's governance. So how the data is stored, processed, and collected might not meet what you want. And so then we advocate for an organization to then build a customized solution.
And then at a very granular level then
Yes.
for the people who'll be watching this, who are considering
Yes.
adopting, bringing in an AI tool.
Yes.
What is automation precisely? Because I think there are misconceptions, right,
Definitely.
about what exactly it is and how
Yeah.
it works. I know where in my industry, in broadcasting, everyone thinks, yes, the system that takes away a job. But that's not always the case.
No, it's not always the case. And we're really moving towards AI agentic flows. We're looking at human in the loop type of systems. So not just automation, but augmentation as well. But to answer your question, so in our space, we really look at the entire process map. And we look at the entire process intelligence and identify where could we plug in AI. So AI is not going to automate an entire workflow currently as it stands. But of course, the technology is moving quickly. So in the near future, that might be the actual truth. But currently, when we look at our systems and processes, we're looking at enhancing efficiency at a specific process, reducing costs at a specific process. So if a process has 10 steps, what we've seen is AI will automate 6 out of those 10 steps, and then the human will come in and just verify towards the end. And that automation looks very different for different organizations, right? So of course, we look at, are you in the industry of retail? Is it mining? Is it legal services? And then we'll look at those different examples. And some of the examples we've seen is really around invoicing, processing, workflow optimization for supply chain management.
Right.
So there's absolutely an entire range in that space, yeah.
And is it still the big man's thing, like a tool that should be, let's say, adopted or brought in by the larger companies? Or can it be actually the bookkeepers down the road?
Yes.
The small dry cleaner or whoever. I mean,
Yes.
I'm using very
Yes.
basic examples because we often think in grander terms when we have AI conversations.
Yes. So I mean, that is one of the misconceptions, and it's great in the enterprise organizations because of the data, right? When you have large volumes of data, your AI tool works better. But the AI tools that we're seeing now is really around writing content copy. We're seeing AI tools around sales generation. And we actually, when we look at the HighRisers book of customers, currently 70% of our customers are actually SMEs and 30% are enterprise. And what we've done with some of those SMEs is really automate the back-end offices. And by back-end, I'm talking about the processes, the finance processes. Another example is around client onboarding. So of course, it doesn't matter the scale of your business, you're involved in client onboarding, you're involved in employee onboarding. So there's some of those tools that can help automate that. And in our space, it's quite interesting because we spend a lot of time experimenting and checking out this technology because there's over 30,000
and I wonder, actually, just on that point, you said you deal with a lot of SMEs, and I wonder if the fact that these are smaller enterprises actually allows them a bit more agility, a bit more room to play around with what they can use, because even if there was, let's say, a disaster, it wouldn't be as big as maybe Kutlwano's company that's handling the information of 30 million people.
Yes, 100%. And with AI, you need to have that love for continuous learning, the willingness to experiment, because we are trying out new technologies, right? And the good thing about SMEs is you directly engage with the stakeholder or the decision maker in the organization. So we come in there, we do our AI strategy, and they're almost ready to launch after that. Whereas with the enterprises, you come in there, you first need to understand who's the decision maker, you do the strategy, it sits for a bit, someone has to approve
20
it.
people have to look at it, and they're like, Kutlwano must sign, but Kutlwano is on leave.
Yes, and by the time we're moving so quickly that sometimes the POC or the AI use cases we presented to you 3 months ago are really outdated, hey? And then now we have to go back and say, okay, does it still make sense? Yes, the processes might still need automation, but it might not be in that form of automation because we're looking at different AI tools according to budget, according to scope, reliability, privacy, data, and so forth. So with the SMEs, we absolutely have a lot more fun. Not that I'm saying I don't want to work with enterprises.
Bring the big money. Kutlwano will not turn down big money. She wants the big money. So on that, when you're looking at the clients who come to you at HighRisers, do you see a trend that sticks out in terms of the industries, perhaps, that are more interested then in coming to you and say, Kutlwano, we need help. We're trying to move along with the times here.
Yes. I think, so I see a trend around the financial services industry. I'm also seeing a trend in the legal services industry. So where there's a lot more documentation, a lot more admin, those type of industries come in. But I also see a trend around the actual leader. So around the characteristics of the leader. So it really requires leaders that are futuristic, forward thinkers. I love that you have a bookshelf because one of that is leaders that read.
And it's a real bookshelf.
Yes,
remember in COVID, we all got fake bookshelves.
So really leaders that read, because with this futuristic world, you really have to be like, am I willing to try? Am I willing to experiment? Am I willing to change? Because we're currently looking our business models. We're currently looking at how does the future world of work look like? And it requires you to imagine. And without that imagination, innovation then doesn't come through. And also requires leaders that aren't fearful, right? And I can actually, in my first engagements, I can tell, you're not really the decision maker, so you need to ask your bosses.
Call your father, or go and call your father, your mother. I want to talk to them. And I was asking you about agility, and I would imagine then that is expected perhaps doubly of you, right? Because as you were saying, things change so quickly, and you as a business have to make sure that what you are offering is in line with what your own competitors and perhaps even the bigger people are able to do at a multinational level, perhaps. Am I right?
Yes, that is 100% correct. And we don't see ourselves as a small business. We see ourselves as a global business about to become big. So you always know, I don't know if you've seen that image of the cat that looks in the mirror and looks at a lion.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
Yes, that's how we see ourselves at HighRisers. And we really are all about how do we upskill quickly? Are we engaging ourselves at the right level? Are we having the right conversations? How are we growing as an organization? So we're a team of data scientists and machine learning engineers. We look at the tools that are out there. We continuously experiment. So we scan. and then we do rapid prototyping, testing to see which tool works, and then we assess. So by the time an organization comes to us and says we're looking for this tool, we've most probably tested out in our own organizations, in our own operations, and so forth. So we understand the integration complexity, we understand the ROI, expected ROI, we understand the reliability, the data privacy, those type of stuff. So we do that all in-house first, and then before we recommend, so that by the time we deploy it into your organization, we can vouch for it and say, this is what we used, and this is why we think it'll be able to scale your organization in terms of that impact and measurement that you're looking for.
And when you look at your journey then,
Yes.
In terms of greatest areas of success, what do you look at and go, that was a job well done?
Sure. So the greatest area of success, and we learned it really as we moved along, was where the people themselves, so the employees, were able to be like, we vouch for AI. So of course, when it comes top down, a lot of people say, yes, we want AI, but there's always that fear factor. A key project that we did recently was to a B2B business, and we automated the admin and so forth. But the key goal was where the employees were now vouching with the suppliers that AI can do this for your organization. And so what we did with that organization is we looked the entire business model, and to the point where they now offer an AI SaaS solution over and above their operations, to be like, this is what we're able to build, and this is how we now sell it off to other suppliers to then benefit. So they have their own business model. Sometimes you continue with the traditional model, but over and above that, they have an AI SaaS model that the employees were able to identify. Because I come in as Kutlwano, yes, I have the AI knowledge, but you have that expertise in your organization.
You are the business,
You are
right?
the business. You're able to point us in the direction that we anticipate that the gaps are here, and then us working together, we're able to collaborate on that and come up with some new moonshots and moonstars that we absolutely get to. So that was one key project that I'm really, really proud of.
And I would imagine from one project to the next,
Yes.
there are also many lessons that you've picked up along the way.
Yeah. So really lessons is leadership. So if there's no leadership buy-in, we really do pull out. Yes, we want money. Of course, we want to grow our business, but we also understand that there's not going to be value, right? Because sometimes people read something in the Harvard Business Review or MIT, and then they want to implement it. But leadership really needs to be involved, and not just stakeholder buy-in that lip service we involved, but actually advocate and champion for that.
Not slogans.
Yes, no. Feel fast.
AI is the future.
You know?
What do you mean? What future do you see?
Yes. Another one's around the data. So is the data messy? Is it siloed? Can it be something that we can fix in terms of data infrastructure? And then fear, especially around middle management. We really do see people asking, will AI take my jobs? You started with that. What does the future world of work look like? And like I mentioned, you can't innovate or experiment if you come from a place of fear. You just simply can't think out the box or think creatively, right?
And how do you answer that very question about whether AI will take people's jobs?
So for me, it's around we're moving from T-shaped employees to more M-shaped employees. So with AI automating quite a lot of things, right? You used to have your have the depth in your specific industry. Now you need that depth, but you also need a general knowledge across various things. So yes, be the financial accountant, but also what are you looking at? Are you looking at the mining,
programs and whatever,
programs and so forth, right? And I'm not all about the programs only. Like my kids are not doing any programming, believe it or not.
Really, Mom?
Yes. Because I'm like, the creativity element is also very important. So I'm looking at my daughter, does she enjoy baking? Does she enjoy ballet? Because this is the technology of the future, but it's not the only way. Creativity, singing, I'm sure you're not going to want to go watch a robot do opera.
And that's the thing, we were speaking to someone else on the show who was saying, great as AI and tech are, there are certain things that they will never be able to replicate.
Yes.
You won't get the emotion, you won't get the empathy, etc.
Yes.
The feeling,
it
will never be quite the same. So the two worlds have to merge, right?
Yes. 100%. So there's that element. And then another key thing that we're seeing as some of the lessons learned is just really around, a lot of leaders are like, where do I go to, right? Which company do I use in order to help me think through AI? So around the AI talent and the AI partnerships. But AI talent also in South Africa, right? We really need to vouch for our children, study maths if that's something that they want, study physics if that's something that they want, and really vouch for those type of subjects just to ensure that the AI talent pool is also growing as we grow as a country and organization. Yeah.
And with that in mind, where do you see things going in the next, let's say, 5 years, 10 years? You said it's changing quite rapidly. Where will we be, do you think, in the next few years?
So just looking at the trends, right? AI agentic flow is coming, AI agentic and AI agentic workflows. So what that means is entire process will be automated. So like I mentioned, we do process mapping and we'll insert an AI tool here, or whether it's customized or off the shelf. And that will then reduce complexity or reduce costs, improve efficiencies. So it's very like specific in the process, but agentic will actually do end to end, and then we'll have a human come in and just tick box at the end. That means more time, more capacity, right? And then another key trend that we're seeing is really around tools that are industry specific.
Right.
So healthcare, manufacturing, and so forth. So currently, most of the tools, if you're looking at a content tool or marketing tool, it can be plugged and played across various industries. And so now AI is becoming more niche. So
these are the off-the-shelf ones.
Off-the-shelf ones, yes. So like now, Timbukile has been broadcasting for X number of years. That knowledge, if it would become a chatbot and not just a generic chatbot, becomes highly more valuable. So a lot more tools are becoming more niche just to drive that impact.
Is my job safe?
Your job is safe for now. Your voice is safe.
I should hope so. So I also wanted to ask you about hype versus implementability, if that's even a word.
Yes.
Hype versus implementation, let's say, because there is a sense in some quarters that, especially with our socioeconomic context, that we're not always as realistic as we should be in terms of what is brought in regarding automation, the broader AI scope, and the extent to which human labor needs to stay. And we know in South Africa, it's not just about the need for the business, but there is a societal need for people for work.
Yes, 100%. I mean, AI is overhyped. I can also agree to that, but I also fully believe in its power and capability. So as a country, and I sit on the National AI Strategy Advisory Council, so I'm quite aware, where are we as a country, where are we moving forward? But as a country, we really struggle with execution. So it's not just on the country level, government level, but also in organizations. So a lot of organizations are experimenting with AI. They have a dozen tools, but the question around why is it that we're implementing this? So a lot of organizations are just saying, I want to have my LinkedIn post, my organization has released this AI tool and so forth, but the why. And so because a lot of organizations don't have that why, they bring in tools and can't justify the ROI. So a lot of tools or AI implementation just stays on board. So it's really the strategy without, it's experimentation without strategy, but then also the lack to execute on what it is that we want to do. So those key things are really resulting us lagging as an organization, as a country as well. But when you look at the US and some of their AI strategies, I actually love the strategy in the AI strategy for Dubai.
Right.
It really speaks about how do we reimagine the workforce. So I always think about how did my ancestors, and I don't know if they were my ancestors here, think about when the tractor, so we used to pick cotton and so forth, and then the tractor came and did all of that quickly. Yeah,
when you look at how everything changed, right? People used animals to plow, to clear certain things.
But there was an opportunity to reinvent, and there was always more to do. And I also believe that in our time, right? So with AI, we are still at such an early stage that someone used to, when I think about it, think of electricity when it started, right? Who invented the fridge? Who's the person doing that with AI to plug into the electricity, the kettle, the washing machine, and so forth? And so that's our thinking, that are we empowering people to think about how do you plug into AI to create the tools that will then enhance the future? And of course, we don't have the answers to that. Even at HighRisers, we're experimenting with a lot, but we also want to build the product that's going to plug into the AI and be the fridge of the future.
So answer not just the bottom line or profit question, but answer the broader societal question.
Yes. So to answer that, and also to be like, how do we create the impact? So that impact is going to be around knowledge sharing, right? And also, I mean, one of my favorite quotes is really from the Bible of what do you have in your hand? And we as people, you and me sitting right here, can actually go back. My hometown is Kosebukeng, KwaZulu-Natal, and I'm intentionally going back and saying, these are some of the emerging technologies. Do you have an interest? If you don't have an interest, let's have the conversation. What is your interest? Because in the future, you really need to obsess about something. I think a lot of us just choose to be mediocre. You have to be obsessed about something to excel.
So finding a niche, basically.
Whatever that niche is it baking? Then be obsessed. You need to be decorating those cakes like no one else can, because weddings are still going to happen, hopefully.
We should hope. Some of us are still waiting if there are offers out there.
Yes. So those type of conversations, just to bring people along the journey, because the journey is moving so quickly. What are you going back and saying, guys, have you thought about this? Have you thought about possibly studying this or looking at different industries? And the industries are broad. Yes, we talk quite a lot about AI, we talk a lot about technology, but there are vast industries. And the more I engage with different organizations, the more I see that there's still so much that one can do, but you have to choose what is that path for you and then pursue it full-heartedly.
So for this season, as we come to an end,
yes,
for this season of AI Impact, we're asking everyone, what does AI mean to you?
Yeah, so AI to me means a world of opportunities. And one of my favorite quotes is, the world belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I am one of those people, because of AI, will become a millionaire. And really, that's what AI means to me. It's just a range of opportunities and a range to make a massive impact in South Africa and abroad.
Kutlwano, so good to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
On AI Impact. And we'll be back with another edition of AI Impact very soon. Follow all our social media to see what else we've got in store for you. Thank you for watching. This episode was brought to you by the Afrocentric Group, Southern Africa's most diversified healthcare group, building a winning health offering.